Every one of these Trump moves is huge. My name is Patrick Rooney with oldschoolus.com. I want to make this video. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's helping me out and supporting my work. It is much, much appreciated. I'm getting out here as much as I can, and bear with me right now. But thank you so much for your support. I want to talk about Trump, President Trump, and what he is doing. And there are so many singular things that he's doing. If he just did one of these things, they would be huge. But he's done a number of these things. And the thing is, people don't really recognize it because the media is not reporting it. So people have this idea that if the media doesn't report something, it's not happening. It's like the tree falls in the forest, bam, right? But nobody says anything about it, but the tree still fell in the forest and it had a huge impact. That's what's going on with Trump. He's changing the world right before our eyes. This is a truly historic presidency. It's unreal. So let me just go through a few of these things, and if I talk about them, hopefully that'll kind of open your eyes a little bit, like, wow, yeah, that is a pretty big thing, but it's not really being talked about. Let's just talk about the economy to start with. Of course, Obama, when Obama left, he said about Trump, when Trump was getting in, Trump would need a magic wand to get this economy really moving beyond just this little bit of growth that was going on for so long. And sure enough, Trump had the magic wand because the economy exploded. As of 2019, last year, the economy was the best probably ever, maybe, for all people, all people, including, as he's talked about, blacks, Hispanics, women, everybody, all the boats are lifting up before the China virus hit. And yes, it is a China virus, and it's amazing that it's not being said. That's what it is. China deliberately, as we're seeing recently, the reports deliberately put the virus in, sent it to the world, especially to the U.S., and did damage. And all these people are dead because of China. And our economy was almost destroyed because of China. And we'll have to deal with that as we move forward. So let's look at some of the things that have been going on. Just a few of the stats that you would see in the economy. The unemployment. The unemployment, once COVID hit, unemployment just blew up. It was crazy. And now, since Trump has been pushing to get the economy back started again, the economy has gone into what they call a V recovery, right? It's just going down like this, and then it turns around and went up like this. It's basically a V. And all these different sectors show it. The stock market shows that. Retail sales show that. Durable goods orders, all these different things that they look at for measurement of the economy. Housing starts. Real estate is red hot right now. And it is red hot because Trump pushed and got the economy going again, got people to believe that they could get out there again and live their lives. And they're living it, and it's happening right now. But again, the media won't discuss this. You see, they show this stuff at the press conferences. They'll show a chart showing a V recovery. And the media won't question. They won't ask any questions about it. They'll just find some nitpicky thing about something crazy that's negative, and they'll start asking about that. It's so blatantly obvious that they don't want to cover a single good thing this man is doing. So also along with the economy, Trump has made other countries pay their fair share through tariffs. A lot of people complain about tariffs. A lot of conservatives complain about tariffs, and liberals as well. But tariffs have been huge in terms of bringing money to the U.S. economy and making people play fair. If you can't have a free market economy, you can't have free trade if you have a partner who won't be fair with you. It has to be fair in order to be free. Trump understood that like nobody has done. I don't remember since who's done that. I don't know. Theodore Roosevelt, maybe the last one who dealt with tariffs like that. He also made the NATO partners pay their fair share. We're protecting all these countries, and the U.S. is paying the lion's share, like we do for everything, including the UN that we should be out of. But let's get to a few other points. Immigration, the wall. Trump got in on the wall. And by the end of this year, they're looking to have 450 miles of wall built. This is incredible. And notice that the immigration is not in the news. If something is not in the news, it tells you that Trump is doing well with it because they have nothing negative to report on. They were trying to do the children in cages thing for a while until it was shown that happened in the last Obama administration, was the one who instituted that. But immigration by itself, the whole immigration, stopping people from coming in, stopping the drugs from coming in, that's been cut way down. Stopping the human trafficking. Trump is dealing with stopping sex slavery and human trafficking for kids, which we all should gather around. That's something we should all agree on. Trump is stopping this stuff. He's arresting people. His administration, you'll never know it if you watch the regular news. They won't tell you this. But I'm telling you, arrests are being made all the time. If you look for it, you can find it. Just do your own research. You'll find it quite easily. Okay, another one where Trump did one particular thing. If he just did this one thing, it would be huge. He destroyed ISIS in the ISIS caliphate. That is huge. Before Trump was in, remember we'd see our news every day. ISIS would be marching out a group of people on the beach somewhere and having them kneel down and then chop their heads off. Or they have a guy, they put him in a cage and light him on fire. ISIS was the bully of the world, going around just killing people left and right in the most horrific ways, and people feared them. Trump got in there in a very, very short time, just wiped them out. And at the same time, he's brokering peace deals. So he's wiping out ISIS on one hand and brokering peace deals, which are historic. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize for nothing when he first got in. Nothing. There's not anything that they gave him for. They gave him a Nobel Peace Prize for his, for what they thought he would do. Okay, this guy has potential. So we're going to give him a Peace Prize just for the potential he brings. And actually, Obama brought a lot more. He brought wars. The Middle East went on fire. Egypt, Libya, all these places went on fire. So everything he did was actually the opposite. But Trump brokered peace deals. Look at all the peace deals lately we've had. Israel with Bahrain. Israel with the United Arab Emirates, UAE. Don't mind my dog. He likes to make noise, especially when I'm recording. Serbia and Kosovo. We have a problem there. So he's taking into different regions and doing peace. And he's bringing our troops back. You would think that liberals would love this. People on the left would be like, great. We've been protesting the wars for so many years, for decades, and now we have a president who's actually bringing troops home. But it tells me that they don't really care. A lot of these so-called peace people don't really care about peace. It's a fake. They actually supported these peace things because they were trying to hurt whatever military actions that we needed to do at a time that we were doing. They were trying to hurt those actions. I don't think it's so much that the actions themselves have always been bad. It's the fact that we put troops in and then tied their hands behind their backs and didn't allow them to get the job done. We showed that with Bush. Remember when Bush had the surge in Iraq and went in there and cleaned up? That could have been done a lot quicker. And then we linger in these countries, and we have people stationed there for years and years and years. It's crazy. Trump is hitting the people that need to be hit, and the things that we don't need to do, he's bringing us out. This is historic, people. Any one of these things is historic. Of course, he moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. All these other presidents talked about doing it, but when they got in, they didn't have the stones to take care of it and do what they need to do. Trump has the stones to do stuff. He won't just talk like a regular politician while he's trying to get into office and tell you what he's going to do. He tells you what he's going to do, then he does it, and then he does more than he told you he was going to do. When has that ever happened before? That's historic. Now, Trump started the Space Force. People probably, I'm sure on the left, make fun of Space Force, what a joke. The Space Force is no joke. China, for instance, has just launched a spacecraft. And they are militarizing space. They are militarized. That's why the Space Force was started, of course. It's a part of our military. And it's not talked about. The media won't talk about it. But Trump is, the battlefield is now, Star Wars, the movie, there really is a Star Wars. The battlefield is now out there in the stars as well. And Trump understands that. And he's making us safe all the way out into space, which is, again, remarkable in and on by itself. Here's another one that's huge by itself. Energy independence, okay? We are now exporting more energy than we're importing. I just saw something in Business Insider, and they labeled it an opinion piece on their own. They had to label it opinion piece. There's nothing opinion about this. We are becoming energy independent. This is stuff we dreamed about for decades. We were in the Middle East. A lot of the reason we were there, other than to protect Israel, was because of our interest in oil. If we don't need the oil there so much, it takes out the reason, one of the reasons for being in the Middle East. This is huge. It's historic, and nobody hardly ever talks about it, certainly not the media. And if the media is not talking about it, you may not know about it. All right, the black community, for instance. This is another historic piece. Trump sometimes says he's done more for black people than any president since Lincoln. And that sounds like, wow, that sounds crazy if you don't really know. But if you see what he's been doing, the money he gave to historically black universities, the economy, blacks have been were doing so well prior to COVID, and now starting to do well again. Money that's going into the inner cities. He just put out something called the Platinum Plan. And the plan is supposed to boost lending to black-owned businesses, reduce taxes, education, healthcare, and criminal justice reform. That's another one. Man, it should be too cold out here for these fleas. Gnats, whatever. But remember when Trump went into told black Americans, he said, look, what the hell do you have to lose? You've had Democrat liberal control for 100 years? And look at these cities, they're getting worse. That's another thing by itself. Just look at the cities that are run by these Democrats. I'm not trying to be political here, but these Democrats have screwed up their cities on purpose for political gain, and it's backfiring on them. Look what they're doing. Look what happens to you when you put in these people. They destroy your city and your state. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, here's another one by itself that would be huge. School choice for everybody. Trump is pushing school choice. He is breaking up the public school system, which scares the government school people because they like having cushy jobs and they like having control over the minds of our kids. Listen to me, I've said this before on my last video. We have to do something about the mind control that's going on through the public school systems. I'm sure there's some public schools systems that are doing okay. But in general, public school, ever since they took prayer out of the school way back in the 60s, come on now, ever since they took prayer out of the school, it's been going downhill since then. And it's gotten more and more anti-American. In fact, Trump just put in the 1776 project, I believe it's called, or something like that. And that is to start restoring in schools, right, and in other places, to start restoring a love of America, of a place of freedom for everybody. There was something called the 1619 project, which has been exposed, and Trump exposed it as well, which has been saying that America is an inherently racist nation, and that we're basically stuck being that and will never be anything else. This is poison that's going into the minds of our kids. Trump has turned this around. Let's look at the life issue. Even Christians, I don't know why any Christians are still complaining about Trump. They don't like his personality still, or his tweets or whatever. Who cares, okay? Who cares? Look at what this guy is doing. Just pay attention to what this guy is doing. This guy is the most pro-life president we've ever had. Let that sink in. If some people are kind of like one-issue voters. They're into the life issue. They're into the abortion issue. I respect that, okay? But if you're a one-issue voter, you should love Trump. And I don't care if you don't like his personality, get over it. This guy is saving babies. What would you rather do? Complain about his personality or save babies? The choice is pretty obvious. Now he just put in a few days ago the Born Alive Act by executive order that says that babies who survive botched abortions will now be saved. Okay, they're not going to kill that baby after the abortion's botched. And it sounds so brutal to discuss, but Obama was for that. When he was in the Senate, he was for babies who had survived a botched abortion to be killed afterwards. And that is the truth. Anyway, you can look it up. It's out there, and nobody can deny that. Okay, a few more here, and I'm going through these as quick as I can. Draining the swamp. Yes, this has taken a long time, but the swamp is wide and deep. We had no idea how deep and wide it is. And it seems like some of this stuff is really starting to finally fall into place. If you watch the news carefully, you will see some of the stuff starting to fall into place. They are going after some of the people who tried to, believe it or not, make sure that Trump didn't get into office illegally, from Obama on down. And once he got into office, trying to get him out of office by a coup. They made up phony stuff to get him out of office, and it's now all coming into play. So draining the swamp also includes a lot of things, including the human trafficking issue and other issues. But it looks like it's finally coming into play. And if Trump, God willing, gets 4 more years, I think you will see that the draining of the swamp intensify very quickly. As of this evening, I was just watching the Supreme Court, the lady that's coming on to be the new Supreme Court Justice, God willing as well. And Trump has nominated 3 Supreme Court justices. That may be a record. I don't know, in his first term. That may be a record. And they all seem to be good. So far, the 2 that he's brought on, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, have been solid. So if she was a clerk for Anton Scalia, that says a lot right there. Scalia was a great Supreme Court justice and died before his time under strange circumstances. But he was a great Supreme Court justice. And so she may be a very good one as well. And that would be 3 Supreme Court justices. Again, that is historic stuff. Now, keep in mind, Trump has done all of these things while being harassed at every turn. I mean, they tried to stop him from being president. They tried to take him out from being president. They had a phony Mueller investigation, which is now being turned around on Mueller and his people. They got caught with doing some stuff they shouldn't have been doing with their phones, right? They're going to be in some trouble. So it looks like as they say, the hunter becomes the hunted. So all the stuff that Trump has done and accomplished has been being done while he and his family and everybody around him is under total attack. Who can stand up to that thing? Who can stand up to that? I don't know anybody, and you probably can't name anybody, who could have stood up to that kind of attack for a sustained period of time, which is now a 4-year attack. It's unbelievable. But somehow he's done it and kept going and still doing amazing things every day. Now, I know that in his second term, God willing that happens, Trump wants to confirm Judy Shelton to the Federal Reserve Board. And she favors bringing back the gold standard, which is incredible. Talk about one thing that could have a huge effect. You may not be up to speed on this, or you may have heard something bad about that, because the people who are in charge of things, in charge of the whole debt system that we live under, of course are going to be against the gold standard. Gold standard is a return to sound money, a system that is not based on debt, and it offers huge promise just by itself. So look for that in Trump's second term. This presidency, as I said at the beginning, is historic. It's like Lincoln. Trump is in the mold of what Lincoln did, the changes that Lincoln made in setting blacks free and restoring the Union. JFK wanted to, I believe, bring back the gold standard, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a lot of great things that JFK wanted to do. And he was going up against very powerful swamp-like people who were very dangerous. And you saw what happened to him. Reagan, the same situation. He was going up against the powerful swamp people. See what happened to him. They tried to take him out as well. Trump is now the next, and God protect him, because I know there's already been a lot of attempts on this man's life. And if he gets in a second term, God willing, there will be many, many more, I'm sure. So far, he has to have God's protection, because he's still doing it. And if he gets in a second term, he's really going to turn on the afterburners. You're going to see history like you've never seen it before. I believe that Trump right now is easily winning, and that Biden is just running a horrible campaign. There's no interest in his campaign whatsoever. And the interest in Trump's, you go to see his rallies, it's off the charts. It's even more than it was in 2016. I believe that if not for cheating with the mail-in ballots and the rest, that Trump would easily win in a landslide. I think the people on the other side know that. And I would say they're probably in a deep panic over that. That is why they're going to do all they can to cheat. So I don't care how you look at politics. We all as Americans should be interested in free and fair elections, and you should look into that. Perhaps you want to be a poll watcher or something like that. I can put a link in the description if you want to be a poll watcher and help out. I urge you to do something, either poll watching or something where you're helping out the elections and watching to make sure that our elections are as free and fair as possible. So that's all. I went probably longer than I wanted to, but that's because there were so many accomplishments that are mind-blowing in and of themselves. When I started writing them down and noting them, I didn't realize there was a whole lot of them. So I went through as quick as I could. So, but I just want you to be aware of that if you're not. And it's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing what this man has done. So feel free to like and share this. Feel free to support me if you'd like. Link in the description of how you can do that. A couple different ways. My website, or I'm on Subscribestar as well. You can subscribe. Help me out with a one-time or a monthly donation, either way. But thank you so much for your support. And I get out here as often as I can. I wish I could get out here more. I'm trying. I really am. I'd like to get out here more. But God be with you. We're going to get through this, and it's amazing what's going on right now. We're living through history, and I'm glad to be part of it. So thanks so much for being with me. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.